Okay, it should be live now.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
So
Good afternoon.
I'll be presiding over the sprint today. So okay, I'll start with the purpose of the Scrum. So it's basically to review the work that we've been doing for the past 2 weeks. It started on 12th of February, if I'm not mistaken. So let me just share my screen. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so as you can see here, you're working on trunk 5015. So it basically says we were to implement a counter diagnosis on the OpenMRS core. So okay, there's a bit of a background description, but in a nutshell, basically what it was all about was making sure that medical staff can track a patient's visit or encounter, whereby each encounter has a diagnosis, which in our case is a form of condition or any other issue. So it basically helps like having that form of continuity in terms of viewing a patient's medical history. So as you can see, the ticket had about 20 subtasks. During the course of the 2 weeks, we were able to complete 9 of them. 6 of them are currently in progress, and 5 are not yet assigned to any person. So depending on Daniel, whether he'll decide whether we will continue with the tickets that are pending and the ones that are in progress in a follow-up sprint, or we can just leave it to another team. So I guess that will be discussed at the end of the Scrum. So Daniel, should I go through each particular ticket that we completed, or is that not necessary here?
I think you can go through each.
Okay, then let me start with the first one. But you don't see the code for this, right?
Not at all.
Okay.
Just a summary of what actually was done on the ticket.
Okay. So in the first ticket, basically we want to introduce a new class. So it's called coded or free text. So basically it's a convenience class that accepts a concept, a coded concept, which is basically like a let me call it a disease to be less technical, and the specific name of that concept. And okay, here we could accept a string of a concept that's not necessarily within the database. So in the second ticket, you are to introduce enums.
Shouldn't you be getting them off the dashboard?
Yeah, it's a good idea. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah. So for this, we have to introduce an enum for the diagnosis certainty, which basically had 2 states, provisional and confirmed. Yeah, so Patrick worked on that task. It was merged, so yeah, there should be a provision for that. The next ticket was also an enum for the condition status, which had 3 states: active, inactive, and history of. So active is basically active state. I don't know how to phrase that, but a condition that is currently active or in effect, to put it in most perspective. Inactive, it's either one that has been sorted or the state has not yet been determined. Then the history of it's basically getting a history of there's a indicates whether the condition is a child of a parent condition. Then we have the next ticket, which is basically to introduce a condition domain object backed by a new condition table. So you can see the structure of the class here. So basically what this is supposed to do is provide data access to the conditions. So it gives a provision for all the data access methods for that condition. The next one was diagnosis domain object. You can see the structure here. So it's also a data access class for the diagnosis objects. So next you are to introduce a service for the diagnosis. So this is basically an interface that would allow interaction via an API, by API call, sorry. So it allows data manipulation from clients that are not necessarily within the core module. We also have a service for the conditions, which also basically provides an interface for data manipulation on condition objects via API calls. And then we also have the condition data access interface. So it also provides a link for the data manipulation methods on condition data. So the reason we're using interfaces is for the loose coupling of the application. So we also have a data access interface for the diagnosis objects. And those are basically the tickets we were able to work through. As you can see here, we also have tickets that are currently in progress. So we have one for introduction of REST APIs for diagnosis objects. So this one is currently being worked on by Isaiah. We have one for condition data access that is being worked on by Segun. We have one for REST APIs for the condition object. This is being worked on by Kelechi, if I'm not mistaken. No, not Kelechi. This is actually mine, sorry. Then we have diagnosis data access implementation. This is Cecilia's. Diagnosis service implementation. This is Patrick. And finally, the condition service, which is being done by Kelechi. Then on this tab here, we have the tickets that have not yet been assigned. So it's I guess that's basically it. So a few things. So the purpose of this team. So we are relatively new to the stack and the product. So the main purpose for us during the first sprint was basically getting acquainted with the product itself and the best practices of the OpenMRS community. But our long-term purpose is eventually to start making meaningful contributions to the product integrate well with the community and to continue to grow as we learn from each other in the community. And yeah, the overall progress I feel is quite good, considering that the team is relatively new to all these things. And yeah, I'm looking forward to leveling up and making some awesome contributions. Yeah. So Daniel, I think I can hand it over to you now.
Okay, so thank you, Arthur, for leading this very well. It's as if you've done it before, so you must have done very good homework. And thanks everyone else for the participation in this, the work you've done. Yeah, it's true that at the end of the sprint, we've not completed all the tickets, but like you pointed out, you're new to this, the processes, the language, etc. So factoring that in, I think it's understandable. So I would like to ask a few questions as we move forward. There have been some people who have been stuck on some of these tickets for days. Could they tell us a little bit about what's going on? The expectation is that if you get blocked, you reach out for help. But if you take days and you're not reaching out for help, then something needs to be fixed in there. I know there are some who have been reaching out to me privately and getting clarifications here and there. One of those is Caro, Segun, but there's also a few others that have taken a while without hearing, and so I would like to know what's going on. Are you stuck? Are you making progress? Are you, hopefully they know themselves, and now it's the turn for them to say something.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah, this is Kelechi. Daniel.
Yes, Kelechi.
I'm actually working on the condition service implementation. The implementation
Right.
of the service interface.
Arthur, do you mind still showing us that dashboard as Kelechi speaks? Go ahead, thanks.
Okay, so with the ticket trunk 5354, create condition service implementation. Now, it's depended on the condition service interface, and that has been successfully done. I also got to find out that it also depended on the condition DAO, the implementation, condition DAO implementation, which Shegun 5349, which Shegun is currently working on. But that notwithstanding, I had to have a workaround though, and I've successfully done the implementation. I raised the PR, but I was waiting for its own to be done and merged before I can move it to review, code review.
Can you say that again? You're waiting for it?
Yeah, I'm waiting for 5349, the condition implementation, to be merged so that I would move my own to code review and yeah.
So does that mean your code cannot be reviewed before the other one is merged?
That is what I thought, because first of all, the build is failing up there, not locally though.
By the way, let me also emphasize this. Reviewing is different from actually running stuff. Somebody can review your code without actually running it. So somebody can review code that has not even compiled, if you didn't know that. Review is simply to give people progress that you've done and help them to comment as you continue, instead of having to wait up to the very end when you feel all is ready, 100% right, working. So reviews, that's why you see back and forth exchanges in terms of comments regarding things to address, then you go work on them, commit again, etc, etc. So the reviews simply mean, can somebody look at what I have done so far and give feedback? Could I have done something wrongly? Can I improve something? I do not think that requires another part to be merged. I mean, people should be able to look at your code even when the other stuff is not yet merged.
Okay, yes, I do understand. However, I've already raised the pull request. I would move it straight to review.
Yeah, because it's the Jira ticket that I personally use to figure out which tickets are waiting on me for review. I don't know for you guys when you're reviewing what you base on. Maybe you just look at pull requests, but that's for me. That's what I do. I go to that column of tickets under review, and then I try to look for their pull requests. That's by the link on Jira, and then go reviewing them. I hope you guys do the same, because you're also supposed to review these things even before I step in.
Yes, we do
Yeah.
understand.
Did you guys read the link about code reviews on OpenMRS? There's this getting started page, and it has some good links of reviews. One of the things that would be great for you guys, especially when you're just starting on stuff, is to review another's code. Reviewing is not just about looking for stuff that can be improved, looking for bugs, looking for mistakes, looking for things that don't get done right. They're also about learning. So as you review, there's loads that you learn. So you guys, I would encourage you to look at all the commits that have been done, or to the pull requests that have been raised, because I'm sure there's stuff somebody else knows that the other person doesn't know. So when you review another's code, you may not even understand the whole of the code they've done, but just going through it, and you may pick a few points here and there. So I would encourage you to review, not for the sake of fulfilling the requirement that I put forth of having some reviews from Mandela before I get in, but also to learn something from one another.
Okay, it's noted.
Okay.
Yeah, so Kelechi, I would expect you to move that ticket to the status of needs review. Yes, it can always be pushed back to progress when comments are done and more work needed. But as long as you have something that is worth looking at, even if you're sure there's still more stuff missing, but you still have something that can be reviewed, or you would like actually to be reviewed, it's not a bad thing to indicate that on the ticket status by moving it to the code review state.
Okay, I'll do that right away.
Thank you. Okay, somebody else.
Hello,
Yes, Stella.
Patrick here. So I am working on creating implementation for the diagnostics service. So I've been making progress, though quite slow. It's because I'm copying what's already there in the EMR API, and there's quite a lot. I wanted to understand what each of the defined methods was doing. So I've taken some time to just understand what's going on. But I've implemented a few of them. A few, have dependencies, which I'm not sure how to deal with. And Daniel, I'll be reaching out maybe today to ask about how to deal with with that. So once I'm done with the implementation, I'm just going to do tests. So I'm hoping maybe by end of tomorrow I will be done with all of that, and then I can have something for official review.
So does that mean you're not blocked?
Currently not.
And are you making progress?
Pardon?
And are you making progress?
Yes, I am. I am making progress. Slow, but I am.
Okay.
Okay, hello.
Hey.
I'm Isaiah. So for me, I've been working on the task for introducing a new REST API for the diagnosis object. Over the past few days, we have my task is closely related to what other is doing. So we have been trying to brainstorm and discuss, like when we do something, we have been trying to compare what we are doing. So I can say we have been reviewing each other's code and like rectifying each other for now, but I have not yet raised the PR, but I will by end of maybe tomorrow. So I've been making progress, and for the brokers, we have been able, if we get a broker, we have been able to overcome it with the help of others.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Okay, so as Isaiah said, we've been working together because
Who is this speaking?
it's Arthur. Sorry.
Okay.
As Isaiah said, we've been working together to try and figure out how to get our tasks solved because they're more or less similar. So, okay, one of my main blockers has been writing tests. So I've been going back and forth, like trying to figure out how the test data is formatted. But I've managed to get a few resources to help that out. So that's actually one of the main things that I'm left with. I've written a few tests, but they're still not conclusive. So I'll be raising a PR. I didn't know that I didn't have to be finished with the task to raise a PR for code review. So I'll be doing that before the end of today.
Mic check.
Hey.
Yeah, this is Cecilia. So I'm working on making an implementation, creating a diagnosis data access implementation, and as well as writing the test. I had a few challenges that I reached out to Daniel, and right now I'm working on writing the test. Though I also had some challenges, and Daniel suggested I reach out to Ola, which I did on Friday. But then today I had another issue, which I'm going to discuss with Ola after this demo and see, because he said he had faced the same problem and then he fixed it. So we're going to discuss on how to possibly fix mine. Yeah.
Okay. Looks like we are left with, I think, one, not so?
Okay, Shagan here, or Ola. I've been working on implementing on the condition data access implementation, which at various points I've had blockers and been able to fix them with help from Daniel. So thank you, as well as Kilichi. It's been pretty helpful when it comes to Spring specific issues. So I've actually updated the pull request with the tests that I was required to write. So I've written some tests already, and I've updated the pull request, and as well as moved the ticket status to code review. So I'm hoping to get some review for the end of today and see what else can be made better on the pull request. So that's it for me. That's all I've been working on so far since I joined this sprint. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Is there anyone who was not gone? Looks like everybody's done. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay. So I also want to emphasize this, that unblocking yourselves, as in trying to talk to one another for blockers, is great, because I would like to reach out to me only as the last resort after you've tried it amongst yourselves and it hasn't worked out. One of the reasons why I push for that is the more you help others, it's the more you get a firmer grasp on these things, So helping others is not wasting time, but you understand these things a little bit more when you try to explain them to somebody else. So that's why I'm pushing for this. Secondly, I would trust you guys to explain these things better to yourselves, as in to your colleagues, than myself, because you're new to this area, so you do not make many assumptions. If I try to explain to you these things, I will make mistakes, because I'll assume about certain things. I'll assume you know this and that, which most of the time is wrong. So you end up being better teachers than myself. So that's why I would encourage you to talk to one another and block one another, and only get back to me when you've all failed to figure it out. So keep that happening, Cecilia. So now, this is supposed to be done by Arthur. I think, Arthur, Mike, back to you. Continue taking this forward.
Mic check.
The retro. I'm sure you know what's next.
Yeah. So, okay, in this section, we're supposed to discuss what went well in the sprint. So, okay, for me, what really stood out for me was the consistency in the task delivery. Okay, except for last week from about Wednesday, when guys got really blocked and the one delivering was the previous week. But for the most part, the delivery has been consistent, in my opinion. I've also noted there was effective communication. So, like you've said, the way guys are unblocking each other, helping each other out whenever they can. Yeah, it's been an awesome experience learning from one another. So, yeah, those are my key takeaways from the sprint. Does anyone else have any more comments? Anyone? Okay, Daniel. Okay, so
yeah. I would like to hear a few comments from others. The part that Arthur is on is what went well. What do you feel we should not change going forward? In other words, what do you think is a good process, good strategy, or good anything that you feel should keep going, no change? Anything that you feel was done well, that we should maintain, etc. That's the point.
Okay. For me, what I feel that went well was the feedback part. Like once we list our PRs, you used to give us like almost immediate feedback immediately on what we should do, like work on these more comments on GitHub. So that's something that I felt went well, like that giving us almost immediate feedback to help us continue in almost immediately and resolve the issues. Yeah.
Mic check. In my opinion, what went well was working within that team to help each other out, to, like, when you're stuck, reach out to someone else on the team to help unblock you. I think that has really gone well and should continue with that.
Anyone else? Okay, if there isn't, I guess you can get the TTL's point of view. Daniel? Mic check.
Check, you with us?
Daniel?
Yes.
Did you hear the last thing I said?
What was that?
Oh, I said I think everyone has given their opinion, so we'd like to have your point of view on what went well.
I mostly wanted from you guys, but what I would say is that the fact that you guys have been able to do at least a ticket, it's your view, despite the fact that you're new, at least that's progress. Yes, it can be improved, and I hope it will be improved in the next sprint because you're now getting more knowledge and more experience in this area, but at least the fact that you've done something is great, and I would love to see more tickets done in the next sprints.
Okay, thank you. So the next section is what you think could be improved based on the previous sprint. So I guess I'll start. So for me, what I think can be improved is the communication frequency. I think as a team, we could set up like regular team syncs aside from the daily scrum that we normally have. So I don't know, maybe twice or thrice a week, we could just set up something that will, like, a platform to enable people to air out their blockers and or give each other feedback. So yeah, for me, it's mostly on the communication frequency. So okay, I guess this time I'll appoint someone to say something. If you don't have anything to say, you can just pass it over to the next person. So Kelechi, let's start with you. What do you feel could be improved?
Wow. Okay. I, even without being appointed, I wanted to volunteer to support what you said. It's
Okay.
actually communication.
Yeah.
Communication is what we could really improve on. We are separated by distance and then by also time frame. Like, there should be constant communication. We already have a group, a Slack channel, and we could make use of it the more. We could make use of it the more. It's if we don't communicate frequently, we would not be able to solve our blockers easily. We wouldn't be able to reach out, and then we will not progress ultimately. So we really need to work on the communication. It will really help.
Awesome. So you can appoint the next person.
Cecilia.
What could be improved? I think that, okay, what could be improved? I don't know if it's kind of like a question, same question I had last sprint, is whether moving forward we'll be having only Java tasks or there'll be some React tasks that will be incorporated. So it's feedback and it's a question. I'm not sure where it falls really. Yeah.
Okay. So you want sort of a mixture of both stacks.
Yeah, it would kind of make more sense since our placement. Okay,
Yep.
my expectation of the placement was React with a little bit of Java instead of like pushing out Java completely, we can just have like a mix so that it's like balanced or something.
Okay. Next person.
I nominate Patrick.
Um, I would also like to plus one on what you say. A mix of different kinds of tasks would really be nice. And then the other thing that I think can change or we can improve is I noticed that like the first task, like we were so keen to review, and then as we went on, like the GitHub reviews, we reduced a bit. I think we can beef up reviewing our own work, like peer reviews among ourselves. I think that's something we can do better as we enter the next phase. That's all from me.
Okay.
I
Awesome.
nominate um, I nominate Shagun.
All right, thank you, Patrick. Um, well, I'm just going to support what Patrick and Arthur have already said. Like more communication amongst ourselves, helping each other unblock. And it appears most of us are pretty new to the old Java Spring framework ecosystem. So frequent code reviews would help each other help us understand what code does, because now when you see what someone else has written, you can ask questions and see why they chose the things they did, and help you understand how to write um, Java code better, or Spring code. Because, for example, there are certain things I did in the current pull request I just raised that when I spoke with Kelechi, helped me understand that, okay, no, when you do something here, you have to go fix it at somewhere else as well. You have to go do something corresponding at somewhere else. When I spoke with Daniel, it's helped him, and he told me, okay, change certain thing here to this. It made me understand better. But currently, I probably am the only person else who understands that. But when you decide, when you review my code and ask questions why I did certain things in a certain way, it would help you understand way Spring is written, Spring code is written, and help us. I believe that will help us move faster in subsequent tickets, because now we would understand how certain things affect the others, and what when we see certain errors, it helps us understand where it's coming from better. So yeah, that's it's communication and more code reviews.
Okay. Thank you.
So I nominate, I guess it's Isaiah next. So yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay. For me, I would say maybe on the something to do with, for example, during stand-ups, like we should make them like once someone says something, we should try to go deeper. Like if someone says he learned something about the framework, maybe you can ask a question like, "What did you learn?" Like the details, in order to make someone like say something that that's true, like what he really or she learned. Yeah. So just the same communication and more details.
Okay. Thank you. So, Daniel, over to you. What do you think could be improved from the last sprint?
What do you mean when? Okay. I think we can have more code reviews than have happened so far. Yes, I've done some. I've seen some reviews done amongst yourselves, but I feel it's not what I would expect. So I would expect kind of more reviews. You don't get scared about reviewing. Even if you look at somebody's code and you just don't know what the hell is going on, the fact that you've set your eyes on, you can even just, I've seen some of you say it looks good, but you don't have to tell lies, you know, when you don't understand even whether it looks good or not. You can just say, nah, though I don't understand, but I've taken a look. So the fact that you've seen what somebody has done is good, because you may later on find yourself across a task and remember, oh, I think I remember somebody do something like this, you know? So that is knowledge gain. So I'd expect you to do more reviews. Don't have to wait for when you're pros, experts in these areas to feel like you can now review people's code. So you can do more reviews. So that can be improved. And I also feel that the silence in between tickets is a bit, for some people, it's a bit, when somebody takes 3 days and they're not doing a pull request and they're not, I sort of feel something's not right. I could be wrong, but there's something that I feel in that. So I would expect somebody to take a maximum of 2 days and then they have a pull request. Or if not, at least I would expect in between the 2 days to have some communication in terms of there's a blocker here, there's a blocker there. But when no mentioning of blockers, no pull request, and it's days, I feel that should be improved. I'm not trying to say that you should all be done with the ticket in a day or whatever, but I mean, there should be some, at least something that shows either you're making progress or at least you air out what's stopping you from making progress, you know? So that could be improved. Other than that, I think the rest seem to be good. I like the fact you guys have done things and you've learned things so fast. I've been reviewing some podcasts. You see guys writing Nuke-based change sets. You find guys writing mappings in Hibernate files. Yeah, you guys have never done this before, but you did these things well. And got things right. Yes, even if there was some feedback in terms of back and forth comments here and there, but that's okay. That happens to all of us. Even if you're an expert, you can always miss out on something and somebody tells you, hey, this and that. But the fact that you've done all that and you've never done it before, it's very good. So I'm encouraged by this. Like I told you before, was also partly an experiment to see what happens when you get a team that has never done Java. Get them on a sprint that is 100% Java. So it's also an experiment where I'm evaluating that is it possible that guys can actually do stuff and finish it. Guys can do a high priority ticket like this. Yeah, we have React tasks, but we intentionally decided to give you Java because we want to see what happens when guys have to be forced to do Java. Does it work out? Doesn't it work? You know, how is the experience? How is the speed, etc. So that's why this has never done before. All other apprentices have been starting on other tasks. They've only been doing Java later on, like when they're almost finishing. So you're the first group that has been told to do Java from the very first day. Another reason why we are doing this is we've noticed that for some other groups, we've started doing React and other stuff. And then we only give them Java tasks maybe like when they're like about 2 weeks to go off, 3. But we also noticed that we make some losses. We do a lot of investment in the last 2 or 3 weeks with a guy who is going to roll off, and then they roll off. So making you do Java tasks makes us do more work. Like you guys have been engaging me almost full time, just guiding you, making sure that I look for ways of breaking these things into. So you've been consuming more of my time than all other guys before. I've had less time to do my other work. So I was like, if I do this when guys are about to roll off, and then after they've learned, and then they roll off, it will be a loss on our side. So like, okay, let's do this when they're just starting, such that by the time they finish, they've learned and even contributed back to us in forms of Java. So that's an experiment that we're doing, and I feel for now it's paying off. So the investment that is being made in you guys will pay off, because by the time you roll off, you'll have done for us more Java stuff. But I also feel it's good for you because in the technology industry, we'll always learn stuff. You may feel React is like the game now, but tomorrow it will be a different story. So the ability to quickly adapt and learn the current technologies is part of the key aspects of a nice software developer. So do not feel discouraged that you're not doing stuff that you know. Just feel encouraged that you're learning tricks and tips of doing stuff that you didn't know before, because as you go forward in your career, you'll always once in a while find yourself in such stages where project comes up for a client, it's paid well to the company you're working for, and they need stuff done, but you've never done this thing before. So having gone through that experience before is very good for you. You learn tricks and tips of how to attack, how to learn while you work, because this is work. So you wouldn't expect your employer to take you off and say, hey, go and take a month studying Java or studying this other new language. No, they'll give you a task and they say, hey, here is the task to do. You will not give them a report and say, the first sprint, I was just reading. That will not accept. It's not acceptable. The client needs work to be done. So you need to look for ways of mixing the two in a way that the client actually sees real progress. So much as you're crying for React tasks, but I think this is also good for your purposes, because I was told that we are not supposed to just get stuff done in OpenMRS by you guys. I was told that one of the things that Andela expects from OpenMRS in exchange for the dev time that you guys put in is learning. So this is also good for your learning. The truth is, core devs OpenMRS would have done these tasks faster than you and finished them and wrapped them off. Possibly I'm spending more time mentoring you than I would have if I did these things myself, because I knew them. But I'm supposed to step back a bit and spend more time mentoring you and making you the future devs. So there's some trade-offs, but in this case, we want to also make sure that OpenMRS provides learning support so that you guys can get off the apprentice when you're like, wow, we learned so much stuff from OpenMRS, elsewhere we are going, is this knowledge we've picked from OpenMRS, so we shall also feel that we have succeeded if that can be done. So that's why you see yourselves in the waters you've never swum in before, but it's good for you.
Okay, thank you,
so
Daniel.
That's it.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I feel like you've put it into a much clearer perspective. So I'm hoping Cecilia and Patrick will be at a bit more ease. Cecilia, Patrick.
Right now, I'm feeling less betrayed. Seeing that I've spent about almost 2 months and not done any JavaScript, written a single line of JavaScript. So at least with this knowledge, I feel less betrayed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the final section is what we commit to improve in the next sprint. So I don't know, I think you guys can give me the latitude to speak on your behalf, but you can add on to anything you feel that I might have missed. So I guess what we can commit to is more code reviews to each other and from ourselves. We'll increase on the communication. So we'll set aside time to have regular team syncs, and we'll definitely improve on communicating on the blockers, because Daniel, you've said the most should be at least 2 days for a progress report. So we'll definitely work on that. So if anyone feels like I've missed out anything, feel free to add on to that.
Sounds good.
Okay. So Daniel, I think I'm done with the points I was to discuss. So let me hand it over back to you.
Okay, so we are starting a new sprint. Do you want to still be the sprint lead for the second sprint, or do you want to nominate somebody else?
If anyone wishes to take up the role, I have no issue with it, because it's still a learning experience, and I feel everyone should at least get the opportunity to be sprint lead. So yeah, that's I can continue, but if anyone wants to take up the role, I have no issue with it.
I would for the next sprint.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you. So then in that case, Arthur, you're going to be expected to mentor him, because there's a wealth of knowledge that you have gained from those 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So he has been, just mentor him and ensure that you make him succeed.
Okay, I'll do that.
So we're going to have another 2-week sprint starting today, and it's going to be about the same tickets that are under progress. So in other words, you're going to create a new board. Which board will have these tickets? The ones that are ready for work will be moved to that new sprint 2. You call it encounter diagnosis sprint 1. Sorry, this will be 2. These also under progress. We'll move to that. If there's any that is being reviewed but not yet closed, you also put it in the same sprint. These ones that have been closed, so those go and die with the last sprint. That new sprint is starting today, and it's a 2-week sprint.
Okay.
Hopefully we should be done with all these tasks by this coming 2-week sprint. And yep. Any questions, comments?
Mine is just a word of appreciation to Arthur. Arthur, thank you for being an awesome sprint lead.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for being awesome teammates.
Yeah,
You're
I also
welcome.
like to add my voice on that. Arthur, you've done a great work. I like the fact that you provoked me. You remember that the other stuff that you talked about of setting up the demo, etc.
Yeah.
So the fact that you reached out to me and asked that, hey, it's almost done, and so that kind of stuff where it's not me always trying to ask and poke you for responses, but you make the initiative, that was a plus. So you've done it well. Looking at the fact that it's your first time, at least you've set up tickets, set up this, you set up stuff. You did lots of work that exceeded my expectations in terms of a newcomer who has not done this before. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I would also like to appreciate Daniel's effort. I sort of feel bad because you've said that we are taking up much of your time and you don't have time to do the other stuff. So really appreciate the time you've taken off of your schedule to help us integrate into the product seamlessly. So yeah, thanks for that.
You're welcome.
So anyone
Any
else?
other? So are you all happy to continue with the next sprint?
Yeah, sure. For me, I'm very happy.
Yes, I just wanted to ask. So are the tickets that will be moved to the next sprint just those, or is there a possibility that they will reduce children next time?
Come again?
The tickets that are going to be moved, there are about 5 without unassigned yet, and then the ones in progress. So are those definitely all, or will they probably expand into other tickets or more tasks added?
Yeah, so Yeah, so you're right. It's only those that are closed, which are closed, that are not moving to the next sprint. So anything that is not closed, and if it's under review, next sprint. So we would expect to have more tickets depending on the need. Like sometimes I've been looking at some of these tickets and I'm like, this is a bit big. Let me split it up into two. So we'd expect, as during the course of the sprint, we would expect a few extra tickets to come up, show up.
All right, thanks, Daniel.
You're welcome.
So I
Any
guess
other
okay.
any last comments or questions as we round this up?
Okay, none from me.
If there is none, looks like it's the end of the hour. I'd like to thank you guys for all that you've done. And please keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
Sure. Okay, see you Scrum time.
So with
And-
that, I think I'll call up the demo.
Sure, thanks.
Okay, thanks for attending.
Let me also clarify this a bit. It's not necessarily a demo, it's a sprint retro. As you've seen in this particular one, we didn't have a demo in terms of what has been done from the end user's perspective. But so the general stuff for this would be the retro, the sprint retrospective meeting.
Yeah.
But it usually involves a demo. Yeah, which in this case we didn't have in terms of showing end user functionality because we are the back end API. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you guys, and I would expect posting of the recording just in case the people who wanted to join but didn't. So this recording helps them to follow up and go through what we've seen. So remember to share this link of the recording to on the other thread where you announced this.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. So help Ola to set up the sprint. So I would expect an announcement today, before end of today, of announcing the new sprint, having the board set up, and all those things in place like you did, Arthur, right?
Okay.
So I would expect all that to be done by today, before today ends. Hopefully that's a realistic goal.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay. See you later. Bye for now. Thanks.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.